Major Thomas Bedford stood at the window of the International Space Station, watching the strange ship approach. It was unlike anything humans had ever built, smooth, silver, and shaped like a leaf. His heart beat faster as he realized this was really happening. After years of wondering if aliens existed, they were finally here. "Major, they're requesting to dock," said Lieutenant Rogers from his computer station. "Should I give them permission?" Thomas took a deep breath. As Earth's designated first contact specialist, this was his moment. Yes, grant them access. Alert all station crew to follow first contact protocols. The alien ship connected to the station with a soft thud. Thomas watched through the airlock camera as three beings emerged. They looked almost human, except for their blue-tinted skin and large dark eyes. They wore simple white suits that seemed to flow like water. The airlock cycle completed, and Thomas stepped forward to meet them. "Welcome to Earth's International Space Station. I am Major Thomas Bedford, representing humanity." The tallest alien bowed slightly. "We are the representatives of the Galactic Council. I am First Speaker Telleris." Their English was perfect, though slightly musical. "We have been watching your species for some time." Thomas led them to the station's conference room, where screens showed views of Earth below. The aliens couldn't seem to stop staring at the planet. "Major Bedford," said Telleris, "we must confirm something. Your species evolved on that planet." They pointed to Earth. "Yes, we did. Is there something wrong?" The three aliens looked at each other with what seemed like shock. "That world, by our classifications, it is a Category 12 death world. The gravity alone should make complex life impossible. The temperature swings, the atmospheric pressure, the radiation levels, the prevalence of predators." Thomas frowned. "Earth is perfectly habitable for us. Are you saying other worlds are different?" The second alien, who introduced herself as Science Officer Meridia, pulled out a small device. She pointed it at Thomas. "Your bone density is incredible. Your muscle mass, and your endurance readings, they're off our charts." "I'm just an average human," Thomas said. "Well, maybe a bit above average since I'm in the Space Force, but nothing special." The third alien, Security Chief Valen, stepped back slightly. "You mean there are humans who are stronger than you?" Thomas nodded. "Many. Our athletes, our soldiers. I'm fit, but I'm not exceptionally strong by human standards." The aliens huddled together, speaking quietly in their own language. When they turned back, Telleris looked serious. "Major Bedford, we came here today to invite humanity to join the Galactic Council. We've observed your technological progress, your culture, your art, but we had no idea about your physical capabilities. This changes everything." "Changes things how?" Thomas asked, feeling worried. "Your species," Meridia said, checking her readings again. "You can run for hours without stopping. You can lift many times your body weight. You can survive massive temperature changes. You can heal from injuries that would kill most species. You're practically indestructible by galactic standards." Thomas thought about basic training, about marathon runners, about survival experts. Things humans considered normal achievements. "We're just well adapted to our environment," he said. "Major," Telleris said solemnly, "your normal environment would kill 98% of known sentient species within minutes. We must report this to the Council immediately. Your species, you're not just strong, you're terrifying." As if to prove their point, the station shook slightly as it passed through some turbulence. The aliens grabbed onto the walls in panic, while Thomas barely noticed the movement. "Don't worry," he said with a reassuring smile. "That's just a little shake. We're perfectly safe." The aliens stared at him with a mixture of fear and awe. That's when Thomas realized that humanity's entry into galactic society wasn't going to be simple. They weren't going to be seen as just another species joining the galactic community. They were going to be seen as the monsters who lived on a world of death, and smiled about it. "Major Bedford," Telleris said finally, I believe your species is about to change the galaxy forever. We just have to figure out if that's a good thing or not." Thomas looked down at Earth, beautiful and blue, spinning below them. He hoped they would decide it was a good thing. But judging by the way the aliens were looking at him, he had a feeling things were about to get very complicated. 3 months after first contact, Ambassador Eleanor Wright sat in the massive Galactic Council chamber. The room was filled with representatives from over 200 alien species. Some floated in special tanks, others needed breathing masks, and a few were just holograms because they couldn't survive in standard atmosphere. Eleanor adjusted her suit collar. After Major Bedford's first meeting with the aliens, Earth had rushed to select a diplomat. As a former United Nations representative, she was chosen to speak for humanity. But today felt different. The Council had called an emergency meeting about Earth. "The Council recognizes Ambassador Wright of Earth," said the Council leader, a tall being with silver skin. His universal translator made his voice sound deep and clear. Eleanor stood up. Even this simple action caused murmurs in the chamber. Earth's gravity meant she could move more quickly and smoothly than most species. "Thank you, Council leader," she said. "Why has the Council called this meeting?" A military officer from a species called the Velari stepped forward. He wore medals that clinked as he moved. "We have a proposal for Earth. The Galactic Defense Force needs soldiers. We want humans to join." The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Eleanor waited for quiet. "I thought many council members were afraid of humans," she said carefully. "They called us Deathworlders and dangerous." "Exactly," the Velari officer said. "Your people are perfect for combat roles. You're stronger, faster, and more durable than any known species. You can fight in conditions that would kill our soldiers." Lieutenant Emily Cooper, who stood behind Eleanor as her military advisor, stepped forward. "May I speak?" she asked. The council leader nodded. Emily, a decorated Royal Air Force pilot, addressed the chamber. "I've studied your military records," she said. "Your wars are very organized. Armies meet at planned times. They fight in set spaces. Nobody attacks civilians. It's almost like a game." "War should be civilized," said another council member. "We're not barbarians." Emily nodded. "But what happens when someone doesn't follow these rules? What if an enemy attacks civilians? What if they fight dirty?" The chamber went quiet. Eleanor saw worried looks on many alien faces. "That's why we need humans," the Velari officer said. "You understand real combat. You can fight the battles we can't." Eleanor looked at the data pad in front of her. The council was offering Earth advanced technology, trade deals, and protection. All they wanted was soldiers. "We need time to discuss this with our governments," Eleanor said. But the Velari officer raised his hand. "There's something else," he said. "Our sensors detect a hostile force at the edge of council space. They don't respond to messages. They don't follow rules. We fear they plan to attack." Emily straightened her uniform. "You want us to fight them?" "We want you to train our forces," the Velari said. "Teach us to be stronger. And yes, if necessary, we want you to fight." Eleanor thought about Major Bedford's warning. He had said the aliens saw humans as monsters. Now they wanted to use those monsters as weapons. "If we agree," Eleanor said, "we have conditions. Human soldiers follow human rules of war. We protect civilians. We don't fight for show. We fight to win." The council leader looked around the chamber. Many members looked scared, but they nodded. "We accept these terms," he said. "Welcome to the Galactic Defense Force." As Eleanor and Emily left the chamber, Emily spoke quietly. "They have no idea what they're asking for, do they?" Eleanor shook her head. "They think they want human soldiers. But they've never seen humanity at war. Let's hope they never have to." Behind them, the council members were already planning the first human training programs. They thought they had just gained powerful allies. They didn't realize they had just changed galactic warfare forever. And somewhere out in deep space, an unknown enemy was approaching. Soon, they would learn why humans were called Deathworlders, and why sometimes monsters were necessary. James Walker watched as another alien cadet collapsed in the training room. The former Royal Marine sighed and turned down the gravity controls again. They were now at only 60% of Earth's normal gravity, but it was still too much for most species. "Perhaps we should take another break," said Instructor Kalen, his alien colleague. The tall, thin being looked worried as medical staff helped the fallen cadet. "They need to be stronger," James said. "The enemy won't wait for them to catch their breath." He walked over to the training course he had designed. It was simple by human standards. Just some obstacles to climb over, walls to jump across, and weights to lift. On Earth, children could do most of it. But here at the Galactic Military Academy, it was causing chaos. "Watch," James said. He started the course, running easily despite wearing full combat gear. He jumped over barriers, climbed ropes, and carried heavy packs. The alien cadets watched with wide eyes. "That's impossible," one of them whispered. "He's not even breathing hard." James finished the course and walked back to them. "This is basic training on Earth. Every soldier can do this." Instructor Kalen shook his head. "Your species is remarkable, but also frightening. Yesterday, Cadet Lisa from your group broke the Academy's strength records. All of them. In one day." James remembered. Lisa had been annoyed that the weights were too light, so she kept asking for more. The aliens didn't understand that she was just an average soldier, not some super warrior. "We need to separate the training," James decided. "Humans in one group, other species in another. We're just slowing each other down." As if to prove his point, the human cadets arrived for their session. They were laughing and joking, fresh from their morning run, a run that would have killed most alien species. "All right, listen up," James called to his human trainees. "Today we're doing real training. Earth gravity, full gear, combat speed." The aliens quickly left the room. They had learned that combat speed meant something very different for humans. James turned the gravity back to Earth normal. The human cadets didn't even notice the change. He started them on the course, watching as they moved with strength and speed that seemed impossible to the rest of the galaxy. "Sir," one of the cadets called out, "is this really necessary? The aliens can barely walk in their own gravity." James looked serious. "There's an enemy coming. The Council is scared. They asked for human soldiers because they need our strength. We can't get weaker. They need to get stronger." As the training continued, James got a message on his computer. It was from Command. The unknown enemy ships were getting closer to Council space. Soon, the galaxy would need soldiers who could fight. Looking at his human cadets, James felt proud. They were ready. They had the strength of their death world in their bones. But he also felt worried. The aliens saw humans as unstoppable warriors, living weapons to use against their enemies. "Take a break," he told the cadets. They had just run 10 miles in full gear, but none of them looked tired. James walked to the window and looked out at the alien world where the academy was built. The gravity was so low that birds flew like they were in slow motion. The air was so thin that most humans had to wear breathing masks outside. "We're not weapons," he said quietly. "We're just survivors. We had to be strong to live on Earth." But as he watched another group of alien cadets struggle to lift what humans considered light weights, he understood their fear. To them, humans were not just strong. They were impossible. And soon, the galaxy would learn what impossible really meant. Commander Oliver Matthews stood on the bridge of the Galactic Defense Force ship Swift Justice. Red lights flashed as alarms sounded throughout the vessel. Space pirates had attacked a peaceful trading post, and his mixed-species crew was responding to the distress call. "Status report," Oliver called out to his alien crew. They still looked nervous around him, even after 3 months of working together. 6 pirate ships detected, reported Lieutenant Vax, his second-in-command. "They've taken control of the trading station. There are civilians trapped inside." Oliver nodded. This would be the first real test of human combat abilities in space. Call in the human squadron. Full combat gear. The alien crew watched in amazement as 20 human soldiers ran into the briefing room, moving quickly despite their heavy armor. On their home planets, such weight would be impossible to carry. "Listen up," Oliver said to his troops. "Pirates have hostages. Standard rescue mission. Remember, we're stronger than them, but be careful. Don't break the station's walls by accident." This had been a real problem in training. Human soldiers often damaged equipment because they didn't realize their own strength compared to alien materials. "Sir," one of the alien officers said nervously, "shouldn't we wait for backup? The pirates are armed." Oliver smiled. "We are the backup." The human soldiers moved to their drop pods. These small vessels would shoot them from the ship to the space station. The aliens used similar pods, but never at the speeds humans preferred. 3 minutes to contact, Oliver announced. "Show them what Earth's finest can do." The pods launched. Inside his own pod, Oliver checked his weapons. The aliens had given them advanced technology, but humans still preferred their own designs. They were simple, strong, and reliable, just like the people who made them. The pods hit the station's docking bay with perfect accuracy. Oliver's soldiers burst out, moving with speed that seemed impossible in space. The pirates, used to fighting normal galaxy species, weren't ready. "They're demons," one pirate screamed over the radio. "They're running in space. That's impossible." Oliver led his team through the station. When they found locked doors, they simply pulled them open. When pirates shot at them, their Earth-designed armor barely noticed. "Sir," called Private Thompson over the radio. "Found the hostages. But there's a problem. The pirates damaged the air system. The civilians only have 10 minutes of air left. For most galaxy species, this would be a death sentence. Rescuing that many people in 10 minutes was impossible." But Oliver just smiled. "Watch and learn," he told his alien crew through the radio. Then he turned to his soldiers. "Double time, people. Let's show them what Deathworlders can do." What happened next became legend in the Galactic Defense Force. Human soldiers ran through the station carrying 3 or 4 aliens each. They ripped through walls when doors were too slow. They jumped across empty space between sections of the station. In 8 minutes, every hostage was safe. In 9 minutes, every pirate was captured. In 10 minutes, the station's air system was fixed. Back on the Swift Justice, the alien crew stared at the human soldiers in silence. None of them were even breathing hard. "How?" Lieutenant Vax asked finally. "How did you do all that?" Oliver shrugged. "This was an easy mission. Wait until you see us in a real fight." The alien crew looked at each other with worry. If this was easy, what would a hard mission look like? Later that day, Oliver sent his report to Earth Command. "First combat mission successful," he wrote. "No casualties. But the aliens are scared of us now. They've seen what we can do." He looked out at the stars through his window. Somewhere out there, the mysterious enemy fleet was still coming. Soon, the galaxy would need Earth's strength. He just hoped they were ready for what that really meant. Because today was just a small taste of human power. And the galaxy hadn't seen anything yet. Captain Margaret Peggy Russell sat in the emergency meeting of the Galactic Defense Force. The room was filled with tension as reports came in from across the galaxy. The Harmonious Collective, a species known for their peaceful ways, had suddenly attacked 12 worlds without warning. "This makes no sense," said Admiral Venn of the Council Fleet. "The Collective has never shown aggression before. They follow all the rules of civilized warfare." Peggy looked at the battle reports on her screen. The Collective's ships were everywhere, but they fought in the traditional galactic way. Slow, careful, and predictable. They announced their attacks in advance and waited for defenders to be ready. They're playing by the old rules, she said. That's why they're winning. Nobody is ready to fight back properly. The alien commanders looked at her with confusion. An officer from the collective appeared on the main screen wearing flowing robes and speaking in a calm voice. We claim these worlds by right of combat, the officer said. We will wait 20 standard days before each attack, as tradition demands. We are civilized warriors. Peggy stood up, her chair scraping against the floor. The sound made several alien officers jump. People are dying while you wait politely, she said. This isn't a game. This is war. The council members looked uncomfortable. But there are rules, Admiral Venn said. Protocols. We can't just... Yes, we can, Peggy interrupted. She pressed a button, showing images from one of the attacked worlds. Look at this. While you wait for the proper time to fight back, they're taking over civilian cities. They're following your rules of war while breaking the real rules, the ones that protect innocent people. The room went quiet. The aliens had never thought of it this way. What do you suggest, Captain Russell? Asked the council leader. Peggy brought up a map of human military positions. My ships are ready. We can hit them before their 20-day warning expires. They won't expect it. They don't know how humans really fight. Horror spread through the alien commanders. But that would be uncivilized, one said. War is never civilized, Peggy replied. But we can end it quickly and save lives, or we can wait politely while more people die. She looked around the room. These aliens had never seen real war. They thought combat was like a dance, with set moves and proper timing. They weren't ready for Earth's way of fighting. The human battalion is moving out in 6 hours, she announced. We'll show you how Deathworlders fight when innocent lives are at stake. As she left the room, she heard the aliens whispering. They were scared, not of the enemy, but of what the humans might do. Back on her ship, Peggy addressed her human crew. The collective thinks they know war, she said. They think their fancy ships and polite warnings make them powerful. Today, we show them what real soldiers can do. The crew cheered. They had trained for this. While the aliens practiced formal battle formations, humans had prepared for real combat. Remember, Peggy said, we fight to win. We fight to protect. And we fight our way. The Earth way. As her ships moved into position, Peggy sent one last message to the council. Watch and learn, she wrote. This is how Deathworlders wage war. The collected ships hung in space, waiting for their traditional 20 days to pass. They weren't ready for human warfare. They weren't ready for soldiers who fought without warning, who struck from the shadows, who valued victory over ceremony. They weren't ready for the monsters from Earth. And as Peggy gave the order to attack, she knew the galaxy would never be the same after this. The polite rules of galactic warfare were about to meet the harsh reality of human combat. The real war was about to begin. Colonel William Bill Harrison watched from his command ship as the human forces changed the face of galactic warfare forever. 3 days into the fight against the Harmonious Collective, his soldiers had thrown away the old rules. They fought like humans now, quick, brutal, and effective. Sir, his communications officer called out, the collective is demanding we stop. They say we're breaking all traditional combat laws. Bill looked at the battle map. His forces had already taken back 4 worlds that the collective had captured. They didn't wait for formal challenges. They didn't announce their attacks. They just struck fast and hard, like Earth's military had done for centuries. Send them our usual response, Bill said. If they surrender, we stop. On his screen, he watched as human soldiers used their superior strength and speed to overcome the enemy. They climbed walls that aliens thought were impossible to climb. They fought in conditions that would kill most species. They never stopped, never slowed down. Colonel, a council representative called from the back of the bridge. This is not proper warfare. Your soldiers are using guerrilla tactics. They're fighting at night. They're using stealth. Bill turned to face the alien. You asked for human soldiers. This is how we fight. We don't play games with people's lives. The reports kept coming in. Human troops had captured a collective base by running across open ground that the aliens thought was too high in gravity to cross. They had fought through toxic gas that would kill most species. They had survived in vacuum longer than anyone thought possible. They're not fighting fair, the collective's leader complained in a message. They don't wait for us to be ready. War isn't fair, Bill replied. Surrender, and we'll stop. In the command center, Bill watched video feeds from his soldiers. They moved like shadows through enemy bases. They carried wounded civilians to safety while running at speeds that scared their allies. They broke through walls when needed, fought hand-to-hand when their weapons ran out, and never seemed to tire. Sir, his second-in-command reported, the aliens are calling us monsters. They say we fight like animals. Bill remembered Earth's history. We fight to win, he said. We fight to protect. Everything else is just ceremony. The council representatives watched in horror as human soldiers swam through toxic lakes to surprise enemy bases. They gasped as humans jumped from high places that would kill other species. They couldn't believe their eyes when humans fought on after injuries that should have been fatal. Stop this, the council leader demanded. This is not how civilized beings wage war. But Bill thought about the civilians the collective had captured. He thought about the worlds they had taken while everyone else waited politely to fight back. He thought about Earth, where survival meant being stronger, faster, and tougher than anything that tried to kill you. We're not civilized, he told the council leader. We're survivors. We're Deathworlders. And we're doing what you asked us to do. We're winning this war. As another enemy base fell to human forces, Bill sent a message to all his troops. Keep going. Show them why Earth's soldiers are the best in the galaxy. Show them why Deathworlders always survive. The aliens watched in fear as human warriors changed everything they knew about combat. There was no ceremony now. No polite waiting. No formal declarations. There was only the unstoppable force of humanity at war. And as Bill looked at the battle maps, he knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy would never be the same after seeing how Deathworlders really fought. The old rules of war were dead. The age of human warfare had begun. Dr. Richard Palmer stood before the Galactic Council, showing them medical reports from the war. 2 weeks had passed since the Harmonious Collective surrendered. Now the galaxy wanted answers about human combat abilities. As you can see, Richard said, pointing to his screen, human soldiers can fight for days without rest. Their bones are 5 times stronger than most species. They heal at rates that seem impossible. The council members watched in silence as he showed them combat footage. Humans running through fire to save civilians. Soldiers lifting fallen buildings to rescue trapped aliens. Warriors fighting on despite injuries that should have killed them. This is not normal, one council member said. No species should be able to do these things. Richard brought up more medical data. It's how we evolved, he explained. Earth's gravity made our bones strong. Predators made us quick. Changing weather made us tough. We're built to survive. The footage continued. A human soldier carried 6 wounded aliens to safety. Another held a heavy door open for 5 minutes so others could escape. A third fought hand-to-hand with enemy troops, moving faster than the cameras could track. But the most important thing, Richard said, is this. He showed brain scans of human soldiers in combat. We have something called adrenaline. When we're in danger, we become even stronger, even faster, even harder to kill. Horror spread through the council chamber. The aliens had never seen anything like this. To them, humans weren't just strong. They were almost unstoppable. There's more, Richard continued. Humans can survive in spaces that would kill most species. We can breathe thinner air. We can handle extreme heat and cold. We can heal from wounds that would be fatal to others. He showed them pictures of human training. Soldiers running in heavy gravity. Fighters practicing in toxic atmospheres. Teams working together in conditions that would kill most alien species in minutes. This is why we won so quickly, Richard explained. The collective wasn't ready for soldiers like us. Nobody was. An alien doctor stepped forward. I treated human warriors after battles, she said. They laughed at injuries that would kill our people. They asked to return to combat with broken bones. How is this possible? Richard smiled sadly. That's just how we are. Earth made us this way. We had to be tough to survive our world. The council leader spoke next. We've received the final battle reports. Human forces took back 12 worlds in 2 weeks. They suffered no defeats. They lost no battles. This has never happened in galactic history. More footage played on the screens. Humans using their strength to break through walls. Soldiers running at speeds that seemed impossible. Warriors fighting in conditions that would kill any other species. The Harmonious Collective surrendered because they were terrified. The council leader said, not just defeated, terrified. They said fighting humans was like fighting forces of nature. Like fighting gravity itself. Richard nodded. We don't know how to give up, he said. On Earth, giving up means death. So we learned to keep fighting, no matter what. The council chamber was silent as they watched the last pieces of footage. Humans working together, protecting civilians, fighting with a speed and strength that seemed impossible. They saw what real warriors from a death world could do. Dr. Palmer, the council leader, said finally, your report will change everything. The galaxy has never seen soldiers like this, never seen a species like humanity. As Richard packed up his medical files, he knew the leader was right. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. They had seen what Deathworlders could do in real combat, and they were afraid. Major Thomas Bedford stood in the same spot where he had first met the aliens 1 year ago. The International Space Station's window showed Earth spinning below, beautiful and deadly, just like its people. The Council has made its decision, Ambassador Eleanor Wright said, standing beside him. They're calling it the Bedford Protocol, named after you. Thomas smiled sadly. They're banning us from warfare, aren't they? Eleanor nodded. Yes, but it's not that simple. She showed him the Council's declaration on her tablet. The document was already being sent to every world in the galaxy. It told the story of humanity's first year in space, from first contact to the defeat of the Harmonious Collective. No species has ever fought like us, Thomas said, reading the document. We scared them. We did more than scare them, Eleanor replied. We showed them that their whole way of war was wrong. They turned combat into a game with rules and ceremonies. We showed them what real fighting looks like. The station's meeting room began to fill with human and alien officials. They were here to sign the Bedford Protocol. Thomas watched as Commander Oliver Matthews, Captain Margaret Russell, Colonel William Harrison, and Dr. Richard Palmer took their seats. The council leader stood to speak. The galaxy has never seen warriors like humans, he said. You changed everything we knew about combat. Your strength, your speed, your ability to survive. They're beyond anything we imagined. He held up the protocol. From this day forward, humans are banned from participating in traditional galactic warfare. Your methods are too extreme. Your capabilities are too great. Fighting humans is like fighting a force of nature. Thomas started to protest, but Eleanor touched his arm. Wait, she whispered. There's more. The council leader continued. However, we cannot ignore that humanity's way of war saved countless lives. You defeated an enemy in weeks that would have taken us years to stop. You protected civilians. You ended the conflict quickly. He pressed a button, showing a new document. So we create this special clause. Earth will become the galaxy's designated peacekeepers. When traditional warfare fails, when innocent lives are at risk, when the old rules don't work, we will call on humanity. The room was silent as he explained. Humans would train special forces from other species. They would protect civilian worlds. They would stand ready to fight when normal methods failed. You are too dangerous to be regular soldiers, the council leader said. But you are too valuable to be ignored. You will be our guardians, our protectors, our last resort. Thomas looked at his fellow humans. They had all seen combat in the past year. They had all shown the galaxy what Deathworlders could do. We accept, Eleanor said formally. Earth will protect the galaxy, but we do it our way. No ceremonies, no rules of combat. We fight to win, to protect, to save lives. The council leader nodded. We understand now. Sometimes the galaxy needs monsters. Sometimes we need the strength that only a death world can create. As Thomas signed the protocol, he remembered that first meeting with the aliens. They had been so scared of humans then. Now they were still scared. But they also understood. The galaxy will never be the same, Eleanor said as they finished the ceremony. We showed them what real warriors can do. Thomas looked at Earth through the window. His world had created something unique. Soldiers stronger than any in the galaxy. Warriors who could survive anything. Protectors who never gave up. We're not monsters, he said quietly. We're just survivors. And now we'll help the galaxy survive too. The Bedford Protocol was signed. Humans were banned from regular warfare forever. But they had gained something more important. The galaxy's trust. When things got bad, when normal soldiers couldn't win, they would call on Earth. They would call on the Deathworlders.